So, if you're a researcher, chances are you're already using AI in your work, or at least you're thinking about it. But that brings up a really big question we all have to answer. How do we use these incredible tools ethically and transparently? Today, we're going to break down a super clear guide to help you get it right. As a researcher, you see how powerful AI can be. I mean, for everything from transcribing hours of interviews to doing some preliminary analysis, these tools are quickly becoming the new standard. But their fast adoption has thrown a new and really critical challenge our way.
Because the more we lean on these tools, the more our participants are starting to get a little worried. They're hearing about AI everywhere, and they're starting to ask questions. Some are even refusing to participate in studies. And as the research makes crystal clear, we can't just brush these worries aside. Those concerns are absolutely valid.
And that brings us right to our first section, the new AI dilemma. It's a real tug of war. On one side, you've got these amazing tools that can seriously speed up our work. But on the other, you have this growing wave of anxiety from participants, which is often fueled by some pretty big misconceptions about what AI actually does with their data.
So what's the answer here? Well, let's dive into section 2. Transparency is not optional. When you're using AI in your research, being transparent isn't just a nice to have, it's an ethical requirement. It is absolutely not optional.
Let's just be perfectly clear about this. The question, should I tell my participants I'm using AI, has a very direct answer. Yes. In pretty much every single research ethics context, if an AI is going to touch participant data in any way, you have to disclose it. Your institutional review boards, your ethics boards, they now expect this as the bare minimum for informed consent.
But why is this such a big deal? I mean, it's just a transcription tool, right? Well, not exactly. Using AI introduces a bunch of new factors that actually change the whole dynamic. It changes where data flows, who might have third-party access to it, and it creates brand new security risks. For your participants to give truly informed consent, they have a right to know about all of this before they sign on the dotted line. Okay, so we get it. We have to disclose. But how do we do it right? How do we make sure our explanation is comprehensive and clear without, freaking people out? This is where a really powerful tool comes into play. Let's talk about the stress framework.
This stress framework is a model designed for this exact challenge. It's a handy acronym that stands for 6 pillars: sensitivity, transparency, responsibility, ethics, skepticism, and security. Think of it as your roadmap for navigating these new ethical waters. Now, what's so smart about this framework is how it's organized. It isn't just a list of words. It's a balanced approach. On the left side, you've got the pillars focused on protecting your participant, sensitivity to their data, your core ethics, and the security of their information. And on the right side, you've got pillars that make sure your research itself is solid, transparency in your methods, taking responsibility for the results, and having a healthy dose of skepticism about what the AI tells you. So that's the theory. How do we put this into action? Well, let's get practical in section 4, building a better consent form. The most critical place to apply all of this is right there in that document. This 6-point checklist is basically your new best friend. You've got to state exactly how the AI will be used. You need to explain the data flow, like where does it go? You have to describe your security measures, and you have to clarify that a human researcher is always in charge. And if you can, offer an opt-out. Finally, you have to be clear about your data retention policies. This is the new gold standard. And to make this even easier, let's look at some templates. Here's a short version. It's super clear and direct. It says, we will use an AI-based transcription tool, and then clarifies, human researchers will review and verify all AI-generated outputs. Your data will not be used to train AI models. It's simple, it's reassuring, and it hits all the most important points. Now, for more complex studies, maybe you're using a specific third-party service, you might need something more detailed. This version adds some crucial language about data protection standards and, this is key, an explicit opt-out clause. You may choose not to have your data processed using AI tools without penalty. So, let's talk about the scenario that probably worries researchers the most. You've done everything right. Your consent form is perfect, but a participant reads it, gets nervous, and says no. This can feel really tricky. So, what do you do now? Okay, this is so important. Your role in that moment is not to change their mind. It's not about persuasion. Your job is simply to make sure their decision is based on good information. Your goal is to clarify, to correct any misunderstandings, and above all else, to respect their choice.
To do that well, you first need to understand what they're actually worried about. And these fears usually fall into one of three buckets. They're worried the AI will somehow judge or identify them, that their data will be scraped to train other AI models, or that the AI is going to misrepresent what they said.
Once you have a sense of their fear, you can follow this simple 5-step process. First, just ask them to tell you more about their concern. Then, deliver a really short, non-technical clarification. Third, and this is so crucial, reinforce that their participation is 100% voluntary. Fourth, if it's possible, offer them an alternative that doesn't use AI. And finally, just document the conversation for your records. Here is a fantastic script you can adapt. It starts with empathy. I completely understand your concern. Then it clarifies what the tool does and, just as important, what it doesn't do. The AI tool we use only converts audio to text and does not learn from or identify you. And it ends by reinforcing their freedom to choose, which is always the most important part. So we're going to leave you with a final thought. The age of AI in research, it's already here. The tools are getting more and more powerful, and the ethical landscape is evolving fast. Taking the time to build this kind of transparency and trust isn't just about checking a box, it's about protecting the integrity of our work. So the real question is your research ready?